All right, we are live here. Welcome to the World Doom League Summer 2020 Draft Live. It's great to be with you for the 10th WDL season. And if you combine it with its predecessor, the IDL, the 25th overall season of competitive CTF. This has been very long in planning, and I am very happy to be joined by my old WDL radio pal, Alt Stab, as well as Commissioner Ralphus. Let's just fix the screen here. Get everybody involved. Hi, Stab.
What up?
How's it going?
WDL Radio is back. The WDL is back like you ever thought it was really going to be gone forever. I mean, come on, you know? You always knew we'd be back, and we're back. Let's go. Tonight, 10 teams! 10 teams! First time ever for the WDL, I think. Yes?
Yep, first time ever. First time actually in 10 years that we've done 10 teams. But let's not steal all of Ralphus's thunder. He is here to join us. Let's drag him in here. Commissioner of the league,
gentlemen.
Ralphus. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks to everybody tuning in here, and thanks to everyone for kind of showing up and making the WDL something special again. We've been off for a 2-year hiatus here, and kind of on a whim, just 2 Fridays ago, I thought, well, I wonder what would happen if I threw signups up, and just so happens that we now have more signups than we ever had in the WDL. And as it was just previously mentioned, the first time that we're back to 10 teams. First time in the WDL, we're 10 teams. And the first time in 10 years, I believe, since the IDL was at 10 teams after it dropped down from 12. So everything's kind of pointing up and everything looks really exciting. We have 10, great captains. Some of which are first-time WDL captains like Infer and Stal, who is no rookie by any means, but the first time he's even played in the WDL. And we have some serious veterans like Ross King, who's returning to defend his championship, Bones here, and Stab, and myself, and Devastation. So, we have quite a crew. And I don't want to leave Ty and Zakin out as well, because there's the only two I didn't mention. Also veterans. We have a great crew. Over 50 signups, pretty incredible. So I'm really curious to see what a lot of this new talent to our scene can do. And I think we're going to see some interesting teams get put together tonight. I'll talk a little bit more about the way the season's going to go right before the draft, probably in about 40 or 50 minutes. But until then, I hope that there's a great discussion here and we can kind of talk about where we're going this season and, what the future might bring.
Well, thank you. And we, like you said, we'll be talking to you in about 40 to 50 minutes. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you soon. All right. That was Ralphus. So he mentioned 10 captains. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I'm personally pissed off. Like, I get angry. I feel bad at the end of every draft, looking at all the people that didn't get drafted. I feel bad for them that, especially if they were showing up and playing and stuff, and it happens. So to be able to throw, instead of 6 teams out, I think maybe we got 8 teams a few times, but now we're jumping up to 10. So that means guaranteed there's going to be 40 people on a team. And then there's going to be free agents that, as we all know, end up filling in a lot of the time. So I'm just happy that more players are going to get a chance to get in there, because like season 1, that was me. I was just showing up and trying to make a team. So I like that. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I still don't know how that happened. How did you actually make a team in season 1?
I don't know. I've been faking it the whole time. So I don't know. You guys haven't thrown me out yet.
It's true. No, you're right. The IDL had 12 teams at one point. We never did 10. It was either 12 or 8. And, the thing about the 12 teams was I felt like we didn't have – maybe once we had like 12 really solid captains where you were like, okay, every team is going to have a chance to win. But for the most part, it was always like, okay – so-and-so doesn't want a captain. They're a really strong player. We've got to go with somebody that's kind of unproven, maybe has never had a chance to captain before. And so that kind of changes the dynamic. Whereas if you look at the 10 captains that we have this season, I think it's probably the strongest group of captains that we've ever had together. So I think that's really going to make for an interesting season. Right now, everything is wide open.
I'm looking
real
quick. I was just going to say, I think every single one of these captains has either captained before in the WDL or has captained in the IDL or is one of the top players, So yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, 8 of the 10 captains are returning captains. So let's go down the list. We have Alpha returning for his second season. Alpha was a rookie captain a couple seasons ago, and he had one of the best drafts, actually. I believe he picked up Turska, Zanero, and my mind's blanking on the third, but he had a really good team, and I think now he's actually come back to Doom and he's really improved. So second season. Awesome for Alpha to step up. We've got you, Alt Stab. You are back for your 9th season. So the only season you didn't captain was the first one.
I'm so old. Yeah. And I haven't won any of them. So, you know, if you get picked by me, good luck, you know.
Season 10's the charm, man.
Now, we went to this finals once, and we lost to a super team in water and like J-War and 4. So if you do get picked by me, there's hope. There's hope.
Well, there's always hope.
Always hope.
I mean, maybe not when our next person here, our next captain, Devastation.
Yeah.
It's hard to find hope when you're playing against Devastation, but Devastation is back for his 3rd season. He's had some pretty competitive teams over the years. He made the finals actually in fall 2016. He made the finals with Demon Sphere and Hex. So
okay. When's the last time Dev has actually capped? I was wondering. I couldn't remember, just trying to think in my head.
Hurt you plenty. I don't know the season, but he was the captain of HYP.
That's right.
Yeah, like twice. Well, obviously twice before. I think they didn't have the greatest success, but you know, it's all about timing. So you know that doesn't take away from Dev's ability to be a really good leader, and you know the ability to draft a good team.
It just goes to show that like you don't have to be the best player. You don't have, you know, you can be not the best captain on the list, and you can have success by just drafting right. It's more, the draft is more, you know, it is what's going to determine everything. So,
and the funny thing before I don't want to get off topic, but you know the draft itself is always like you can go in there. You could have planned for a week, 2 weeks. You get in there with an auction draft, and it just gets everything. It's like papers thrown up in the air. I mean, how do you even plan for an auction draft? And an auction draft with 10 captains, nonetheless.
So I play a lot of fantasy sports.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that the best way to draft any draft really is to have a sort of a plan, an idea of what you'd like to do, but keep it flexible because, like you said, things are going to happen that you didn't expect. And so when you come in there with like a rigid plan, what's going to happen is something is going to go not according to your plan, and then you're going to have to adapt on the fly. So better to have thought about it beforehand, like some backup plans and stuff. You got to really be flexible. Yeah.
And the good thing about that is, like Ralph said, you know, over 50 signups. So that's going to leave you with a ton of, you know, opportunities and a ton of different people that you can draft. So,
yeah. And I would think that the more players, the more there's going to be switching in and out. Like you know, since we have such a, you know, the larger the player pool, the more, you know, in the 4th spots then are going to be, I think, probably at least open to, you know, people still showing up and helping out in practices and stuff to like usurp somebody on a 4th spot and make it in or something. Yeah. Because with 10 teams,
wants to know if Suck is back. Probably.
I'm gonna let Ralphus answer that when he comes back.
Yeah, we'll let Ralph answer.
Yeah.
So, continuing on, myself, Human Bones, 7th season. Doesn't seem like it's been that many seasons that I've been captaining. Because the first 2 seasons, actually, in the league, I spent on Ralph's team twice. He drafted me twice.
How'd those go?
Well, I mean, you know how one of them went, because we played you in the playoffs and you beat us. That was a really good. That was actually like the best, probably top 2 series I've ever played. We played like 8 rounds, you know?
Yeah.
7 rounds maybe.
I think it's the longest series that we've had so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good, and then, you know, we had our chances. But not meant to be as the Ralph and Bones combo. We're better facing off, you know? Whether it's the regular season or in the finals.
So how many times is this for you captaining? Did you captain in the IDL?
Yeah, and don't ask me. I don't know how many times. Probably 10 seasons. Okay. Something like that, 11. I don't know. So it's been a long time. But glad to be doing it in the WDL again. And first time captain in the WDL, Infer. So Infer is a WDL champion. He won, I believe, he was on what team was he on? He was on Caution's
BST?
team. Or Rosking's team. Yeah, Rosking's team, BST.
Yeah.
It was Ross King, Infer, and Legion, I believe, and they won. So Infer has been a really solid player, and I think in the last couple of years, like he's gone from like that reliable second, third that you can have to what he is now, which is a captain.
Number one.
And yeah, number one. And he's been really improving, and I like his leadership skills, and everyone likes Infer. How can you not like Infer? So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with this team.
Yeah, if you get drafted by him, good for you. You're gonna have a good experience, I think, and you're gonna do well. He doesn't feel like a first time captain even to me.
I know.
Yeah. He's I think become like a really versatile player. I think he can play all three positions.
All three, yeah.
At like an elite level. Yeah.
Yeah, which actually it's going to open up a lot of doors for him. He's going to have a lot of flexibility in who he can draft because he's become such a versatile player. So
he'll have all kinds of options.
Yeah. Of course, namesake of the league in a way, we got Ralphus, 10th season captaining out of 10. Superchargers all the way. I'm sure he's going to be captaining the Superchargers this time. He has made it to the finals. I think he's made it to the finals 2 times in the WDL. He's come up short. Could be 2, could be 3.
Season
right around
1.
There. Season 1 and season 5, 4. I don't know. Don't get mad at me. But he has been to the finals a ton of times in the IDL. So he's a champion. He knows how to put together a team. He's been around forever. It's usually some sort of combination of Cable Air and some other UD guy. But hey, like I said, look at the free agency list. Who knows who people are going to draft? So
recently Ralph has even like gone a little more experimental. Like he had that season with Hopes and
that's true.
Daston or something, or it was Hopes, Daston, and somebody else. Like so, he's been mixing it up. Solar has been on his team a lot, a couple seasons now. Yeah, and Dosu. Dosu, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a really good job of, taking chances on people that probably, maybe some other captains wouldn't be comfortable taking chances on, but that's because, he's had the ability now. I mean, everyone thinks of him as a runner. So, to have the ability to actually play defense. People don't know that Ralph started off as a strong defender. So, he's got all of the abilities that people maybe don't think that he has. So again, like you're talking about how he's gotten players like Solar and Hopes. I think he actually has that ability to mix up his team beyond what he's done previously. So Ralph can do anything. I mean,
he's shown an ability in his old age to still adapt and find ways to keep his teams fresh. And
I'm not getting robbed, by the way. Anyway, Daston thinks I'm getting robbed. I mean, maybe, I don't know. All right, so Ross King is back for his 4th season captaining in the WDL. Ross King, again, another person that another player that people have known forever. A captain in the IDL days. He's had a lot of success in the WDL, transitioning over here. Like I mentioned, he won that season with Infer and Legion. So, here's another guy that, I mean, from my perspective, I think, Ross King's ability to have this like constant pressure on the other team.
Yes.
It's like it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I've never seen someone able to coordinate with all different kinds of players, the kind of pressure that he gets on a defender. And it's relentless. It's just like it's a wave, and the wave never stops.
He's almost like a system coach, that you see in like the NFL or the NBA or something, where like it doesn't matter who he has on his team, they do that same kind of offense, and he figures out a way to put together this like highly complicated communication system so that they can do it, and it's if you listen to their comms ever, it's kind of crazy, to be honest. It's super hectic and stuff, but impressive. And he's another guy that's been around for a long time, and I feel like this is like a recent thing within the last 5 years or so that he started to do this, and old dogs can learn new tricks, right? That's what we're seeing anyway.
So they tell me. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited for his team. Stal, actually. So Stal has never played in the WDL, and he came out of what I thought, and probably everyone else thought, was going to be a permanent retirement to come back. And, he continues to be the dominant player that he was when he played all those years ago, and now he's captaining. I make this joke with him sometimes. Like, I played with Stal, and he was like my third pick. And, of course, we lost. But, like, the season after we played together, he became, like, the greatest player ever. And, so I missed him by, like, one season. But,
so basically,
another guy.
You're just trying to take a little bit of credit for. That's what you're doing here.
I
I
don't think it's a surprise to you that I do have an ego. So maybe just a little, maybe a little. Okay. I mean, he definitely didn't. He didn't get my wrists, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, he's got probably. I think back in the day, I would say that he had the best aim out of anybody, and so I think he was always like this turret defender. And then a couple years into being, the greatest player, he started to run and he started to play mid and he started to expand his game. And so near the end of his playing career, he was, a jack of all trades and he was playing everything. So, so again, another player where that opens up their ability to have a successful draft. If I can say that word, successful. So I'm excited for his team too. I mean, who wouldn't want to play for Stal,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know him that well, but since he's showed up, because I didn't play back then, but he's I don't know, a couple times thrown up some impressive frag numbers on some maps, that certainly caught my eye. So yeah, it seems like a very capable player to put, to say the least. So yeah.
Yep. And next we've got Ty, and this is only Ty's third season captaining in the WDL, but Ty's been around forever. I mean, Ty is old reliable, and everybody likes. Yes, everybody likes to joke about Ty, but Ty is always there when you need him, unless you need him to defend. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. He's another really strong player. I mean, he has this ability, actually. It's kind of a running joke that he would draft the same players over and over again. But, I mean, he always made those teams work. It's not like, you have a captain that drafts a player and the league becomes, used to what they're doing. And it's like, okay, we know how to stop you now. We know how to figure you out. And Ty doesn't care. Ty will continue to draft these people that he works well with. And, he'll just come out and kick some ass. And he's been doing it for almost 20 years. So, I mean, there's not much more you can say about Ty, but, really strong player, really strong captain. Glad that he signed up because he ignored all of our messages for a while about signing up.
Yeah, he did, but in the end, I kind of got him to sign up. I kind of, it was just like the one that got him to sign up, and he would tell you that it was me, all me.
I'm sure.
But yeah, we're really happy to have him. Obviously, anybody that knows anything about Doom knows Ty. Ty is eternal. Ty has been around since season 1. I assume, right?
Yep.
I remember him. Yeah. So
season 1 of the IDL, he's been around. So
that's kind of what I meant. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah, he has, I'm sure, 100% confidence in himself to just, because he hasn't been practicing or anything, but I'm sure he will show up and draft a competent team and
Ty doesn't need practice.
No. Yeah. So
So
glad to have him.
Me too. And last but not least, Zakin returns, 5th season captaining. Zakin's had a lot of success actually in recent WDL seasons. He's always been a strong captain, and he always has a great ability to draft. He's always kind of in touch with, you know, the up and coming players, and maybe somebody that's going to fly under the radar, someone that he can get like on a budget, or he can steal a player in without a captain knowing who that person is. And then Zakin turns it around, and he's got these really strong teams, and he's always a force to be reckoned with, whether he's a captain or not. And I think it's just kind of the cherry on top of a list of really strong captains that we've got here.
Yeah, good player.
Indeed. All right, so let's take a look. Let's go down the free agency list, because let's see. We've got over 40 free agents that could be drafted here. I'll just go down the list, and then we can talk about, maybe we can talk about some of the people that we haven't seen in a while, and some of the people that, we think are going to have a big impact on this season. Maybe some new players that we've seen. So we've got ACC, Agiskill, Azriel, AVC, Cartel, Chain Dude making his return. I'm just going to say Chim, because I can't pronounce things.
Chimilla. He's from Colombia.
Chimilla.
Him and I made a Z-Damon Doom Clan way back in the day with Stark and
Really?
And Abrogator and stuff. And yeah,
okay.
he's my boy.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad he's here. We got Dark Ion, Dastin, Denzoa, Doom, Joshua Boy, Dragon, Dranzer, Disparel, Ed, Fran Damon, aka Fran, aka Meatwad.
Woo, Fran,
Galactus, Ghost Killer, Godlike, Dosu.
Oh, I think Fran's changing his name to Fran Dronimex, is what I heard.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me cross that out here. We got Hatred, Hugo, J Warrior, The Last Minute Man, K Blair, Legion, Orion, Parandon, Reaper Loomish, Running on Java, Salt Mine, Shadow Stalker, who's been kicking ass, Shift, Skull Rush, Solar, Stark is back, That's Just Prime is back, Shane, aka the Fat Willy, I don't like saying that name out loud, Toby, the Mionic Donut, Unknown, Vision Miedo, I hope I said that right, X-Ray, aka Caution, and the blood brother of K Blair, Zanero. So that's, I don't think I read a name that I'm not intimidated by. I mean, this is a really strong list of players here.
It is. You mentioned Shadow Stalker, another former clanmate of mine and Chimilla's. Love him.
I'm happy he's here. I know he signed up in the past, but I don't know if he's been practicing a lot in the last couple of years. But yeah, he's been
last couple of years. I don't know, but he's been doing good. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been kicking some ass in Prive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think some of the people that I think are gonna kind of be under the radar this season. I mean, a lot of us, like you showed up kind of in season 1 of the WDL, never played in the IDL, so maybe you don't know Chain Dude, you might not know Stal, Hatred's never played in the WDL. I think these guys,
Prime.
It's Prime. That's just Prime. It's easy to say because people have done this for years. Oh, this person's returning after 5 years, and you draft them, and they don't live up to who they were. But these guys, I don't think that that's the case with them. So I think we got to be careful. I think they're going to come the start of the season, when they get on a team and they actually have to practice, they're going to be just as good as they ever were. So you can't sleep on guys like that.
They've been showing off some real talent in the last 2 weeks or so of playing prives and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't think they're just here on name only. They're going to be. I think all the captains too are smart enough and understand this too, and are going to be. I think they're going to go for big dollar amounts too. Some of these guys for sure.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing that actually I wanted to bring up about the draft itself. So it's an auction draft, and we're used to either 6 or 8 captains. So okay, now we're up to 10. Now we've got a season where I think guaranteed every team is going to have a solid, 3 players on there. So do you think it's going to affect, do you think it's going to affect the nomination process? Do you think it's going to affect the amount of money that captains are willing to spend on players? I mean, because there's arguments for all sides, whether it's throwing a bunch of money at somebody or, split it down the middle.
Mm. I
I
think
don't
that
know. Yeah, go ahead.
the more players, the more options, right? For any captain, right? So it's like you could, if you're a captain, you could find that almost paralyzing, but I think it's like more opportunity to think outside the box, and put
Yeah.
together a team where you identify a sleeper, and then that's going to be like, all right, I'm going to pay maybe top dollar for this guy, and then he's going to be my like sleeper in the back pocket, and that's going to be, my core, and then maybe you got your eye on like a fourth that you like that you're going to be able to trust, or maybe you like think they got a lot of potential, so maybe they could become your third,
Yeah.
with 40 players. Yeah, there's a lot more options. You don't have to pay. Like, I don't think this is a draft where there's like one guy or like three guys at the top or something that like, if you don't get one of them, you're screwed. I don't think it's that draft at all. I think this is more of a draft where you're going to have to pay attention to the money you're spending and have a plan and have your own. You're going to have to come up with your own ideas, in this draft. I don't think anything just jumps out at you like, some obvious path towards, success in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. And so some of the players that I think are going to be those under the radar, solid third players, maybe even second players. I think a lot of times, someone that can actually be considered a strong second ends up becoming a third because certain captains don't know them, and so they just draft them and they don't really know their full potential. So I think there are a number of players on here that I would put into that category. First and foremost, or alphabetically, Azriel. Azriel, I think, in other CTF leagues, and my memory's fuzzy on whether he's played in the WDL on a regular basis or not, but I believe he was always kind of viewed as a fourth on a team, and so he's kind of catapulted himself, in my opinion, to be a third, close to a second. He could be considered a second. I think he's going to be.
I think he's really strong. Ever been a fourth before.
I think so. Yeah. We got Dark Ion. He kind of came out of nowhere, and he's been kicking some ass. Let's see. I mean, of course, you can always say this about Dosu, but he is like the epitome of a player that flies under the radar. I mean, Ralphus had a really unfortunate series of situations that happened during a playoff game, and he managed to pick Dosu up, and they kicked some serious. Like, Dosu was just insane. I mean, he played like the game of his life. So I don't think anybody should be sleeping on Dosu. If you need to do your homework.
He's been putting up the frags in practices and prives.
Yeah.
He really has been. He's been impressing me a lot.
Yep, and then another guy, Saltmine. I really like the way that Saltmine has improved over the past couple of years. He's been showing me a lot of good stuff. Shadow Stalker. I know I mentioned him already. Shadow Stalker, great. And I mean, I think it's cool to see the return of Stark. Stark was always an under the radar player. He hasn't been around in a while, but that doesn't mean that you should discount his ability. And maybe he doesn't play Prive every day, but he's still got it.
For me, he falls into like this wild card category of players.
Yeah.
Like Ed, significant skill, right? Ed and Stark both have lots of skill.
Yes.
Just haven't seen him, recently. So, kind of like a wild card. Are you going to pick him as a third? Are you going to not risk it at all because they haven't been around? I don't know. But I would say like Stark, Ed, maybe Fran hasn't played in a while, kind of in that sort of like a question mark category. We'll see. There's a lot of interest. Players like that, interesting players like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we've got such a diverse set of free agents here. I mean, it's just I think it's the definition of a draft that you can plan for, but I highly doubt anyone's plan is gonna come through. So um, so let's move on to the season schedule because Ralph has recently updated the WDL WAD. So we are WDL 2020. He added a couple maps, and one of those maps actually made it into the season. So let's see. Week 1, we got a classic, map 4, Ralphus Magical Ice Forts. Tell me, go ahead.
Always good to start the season off on a map that nobody has to learn,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
Yeah, because you're just coming together as a team for the first time. Your focus as a captain and as a team is more on developing that chemistry and figuring out the right roles for each other. You don't want to take an already stressed bunch of units and then have them like learn a whole new map. So that's why we usually see this at the beginning of a season. We start out with something like map 4, something that's been around for literally ever, and everybody knows. So then we can kind of test things out. Almost, it's almost like season 1. It's sort of like you have an idea from practice of what your team's going to be like and who's going to do what. And this is like your first test of that. So it's nice to have it on a map that you probably already know like the back of your hand.
Yeah. I mean, in seasons past, I think Ralph enjoyed kind of that. I think he's always enjoyed a grindy start because I think it allows teams to, really focus on their strategies and getting to know each other. I know that there were a couple seasons in a row that he enjoyed torturing us with ZDCTF map 7, which, I can count on 0 fingers how many people like that map. But it was fun, I mean, it was kind of like he said, the perfect map to get to know your team. And map 4 is the same thing. I mean, everyone's played map 4. It's going to be a grindy bloodbath, but you're not going to have any like weird surprises there. There's not like there's not all these extracurricular things happening. It's just a pretty straightforward map.
It's not like some team's going to have like some secret strat that you're not going to be prepared for,
Right. Yeah. Although, I haven't seen people rocket jumping up into the sides in a while. People did used to do that.
Yeah, I remember. It was a dark time.
Yeah. So if you actually look at the matchups here, Alpha versus Ty, Zakin versus Ralphus, Stal versus Devastation, Alt Stab versus Human Bones, Infer versus Ross King. Those are some juicy week 1 matchups.
Well, I like Infer versus Ross King, kind of like a mentor taking on, student becomes the master, maybe. We'll see, or does the old grizzled vet, the teacher, have to teach another lesson? We'll see.
We'll see. Week 2, map 22, Gargantuan Retarded.
Okay.
Another classic. That's 2 weeks in a row. We got 2 weeks of classics. So it's kind of like a welcome back start to the season.
Yeah, welcome back to this shit. Not a fan, but I get it. I understand it. It's like, you're looking for a couple of known maps. Not my favorite, but I get it.
It always provides good games. I mean, I think it was one of the first maps to really feature, the Soul Sphere and to really have teams strategize around the timing of the item and how that plays along with the corridor or the tunnel that leads from one base, then you teleport over into the other base. So I think it's a very unique and yet simple map, but it builds on what map 4 is, which is straightforward, and it doesn't go crazy. It adds just 2 little elements. So it adds the sphere and it adds the tunnel, and it kind of makes things interesting. So I think it's cool because it's a map that we've played a million times. So we all know how to play it, and it's not going to be any big surprise. But it's good for the growth of your team. And some of these matchups here, for week 2 are pretty good as well. We got Ross King and Alpha. Ralphus versus Devastation, which I want to see. Human Bones versus Zakin. That'll be a good one. Infer versus Alt Stab. And Ty versus Stal.
Yeah.
Week 3, we got map 14, Core 26. That is kind of a relatively new classic, if that makes sense. It's retro modern almost. It's become. You were saying?
I thought I was looking up the maps beforehand. I admit I looked up 26 instead of 14. I thought it was the Church of Ty map, the new one that we put in. So 14. Yes. Okay. Now
14,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
So 14 is, like I said, relatively new classic map made by Ross King. I think it kind of made its mark on the league 2 or 3 seasons ago. So it's become one of those things like it's become a huge playoff map actually, and really interesting dynamic where you can rocket jump. You pick up the flag, the runner can rocket jump up into the window and then jump across, and you can get a flag in like, I don't know, 5 seconds or something if you really time it right. So it's a tough map to defend, but it's also, even though it's a tough map to defend, once a runner gets out, it can be really tough for them because the middle is so condensed, and unless you're like if you're running through the middle, you're going to run into a bunch of people. But the only other way out, really, besides rocket jumping, is that lift, and everyone can hear the lift, and they got to hear 2 lifts, so it's easy to be tracked too.
Yeah.
But it's always provided some really good games. I know I played a playoff match there. It's a tough map.
You're talking about the Soul Sphere in the middle, right?
It's a blue armor. You got to jump to the blue armor.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good map.
Yeah.
I always think about Demon Sphere shooting, rocket jumping from the middle up into his base, but
that was against me. Yeah.
Yeah, he hits the wall at some sort of weird, Doom map angle, and it just goes like boing, and like he ended up literally in the same spot that he jumped from, and everybody just like, it was like a shooting squad. He would have had it easy, and he just ends up right back there, like, oh shit.
That was like, if he had gotten that cap, I think that would have been a turning point for his team. Like we would have lost.
That would have been a sick cap too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting kind of dynamic there.
Fun map.
And so we've got Zakin versus Infer, Alt Stab versus Alpha, Ty versus Ross King, Stal versus Ralphus, and Devastation versus Human Bones. Thank you for that matchup. Moving along here, week 4, map 30, which is core 13. EFO, it is, as far as I understand, a new map by Infer. We've seen it, so it was put into the WAD this season, and we've seen it played in Prive. It's another map where you've got a power-up in the middle, and it's interesting because there are these 2 ledges, and you can jump to get the power-up, or you can lower the lift and you can pick it up. So it adds an interesting dynamic, as well as really interesting that I don't think we see in a lot of maps, where there's a teleporter right by the flag and it actually teleports you up. So yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of interesting. I've never seen that kind of dynamic.
My experience so far has been, I played D on it twice, and it hasn't been a good experience. I wouldn't say, it's a hard map to D because once they grab the flag, they can either go to that teleporter, and it's like once they hit that, you're kind of in trouble there. Like, you're in big trouble there, because then they can go out the top one side, out the top the other side, or they could go down the middle. It's and it's hard as a defender in that map to I eventually feel like I got the hang of it, trying to do some sort of top D where like I could just hang out on the top of the middle, and then there is a window into the flag room that you can sort of patrol your flag from there. So that's going to be, this is what, week 4, right?
Week 4.
This is a classic Ralph tactic. Week 4, let's throw a map that people don't know. And now your team's going to have to come out and do what I've been doing, trying to figure out how to competitively play this thing,
Yeah.
And so that's going to be like a team building exercise almost in week 4. Good test of a captain.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really cool to include a new map.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the perfect way to test teams. I actually have not played the map myself, but I've seen it played. I've watched some games on it. Looks like you said, a tough map to kind of get the hang of, because it seems like runners have the ability to escape a little bit more easily, or we just haven't had enough time to play it to really set ourselves
I would think the
in
latter.
spots.
Yeah, I would agree with the latter more, because we see this a lot with new maps. They come in and at first you're thinking like this is going to be a bad map because it's too easy to score or something.
Yeah.
But then once people get a chance, once 6 or 8 or 10 captains get a chance to put their strategic spin on it, eventually we'll figure it out. Doomers are able to figure a map out that's figure outable.
Nicely put. So the matchups.
No, it was not nicely put.
Hey, I'll take it. Matchups on that week: Alpha versus Zakin, Infer versus Devastation, the Doom CTF Classic Human Bones versus Ralphus,
Nice.
Ty versus Alt Stab, and Ross King versus Cell. So that's gonna be a good week. Whenever I get to play Ralph, I always kind of circle that one on the calendar.
For sure.
It's usually a good game.
I'll watch that. I'll be there. I'll be watching.
I'll probably be there. All right. Week 5. It's cool. You're bookending, the regular season with another map that we all know, but different than map 4. We got map 6, Smart CTF, the map that started it all, the map that really broke open, the modern way of making a CTF map. It's got tunnels, the ability to rocket jump, teleports. It's even got some water that you can, go swim through. It's got everything. I think that's probably the hardest map to defend, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't sit in one spot. Like, I know that a lot of people sit like around the corner of the entrance where, let's say you go through the tunnel into the base, people jump over and they come up and they just run towards the flag. A lot of people sit right here and they just wait for someone to show up on the screen and shoot. I can't do that. So I'm constantly going back and forth from kind of the mid area to the back tunnel. And I just feel like I don't know, I kind of give myself whiplash doing that, but it's just such a hard map. It's so good for runners and the communication. Like, you could have a mid lower the lift and sit on the lift, and then have a runner come through and like just bolt out into the middle, and then the guy's pretty much gone most of the time. So yeah. I don't know. It's a tough map to play, but it always provides good games.
Back-to-back weeks where it's going to be, in my opinion, at least unless people figure map 30 out, are going to be hard defensive map, like hard to D. You're right. I mean, when you're D, you have to travel at like a 90-degree with no vision to get out to mid, see mid. So like, as you're doing that, somebody could easily be going through your tunnel, your sewer, or up to your lift, and now they're hitting that, and you're over here instead of back over here. So it takes tremendous communication from your mid, and your mid has to be good enough to be, staying alive long enough to, call out. And
right.
It's a tough defensive map for sure. It's a runner paradise, though.
It is. And it's a really cool way to end the season. I think we've ended the season on this map before, or maybe week 4. Anyway, by that time, all teams are like running on all cylinders.
And I would also just say, I think it's like the most exciting map. It produces the most exciting finishes.
I've gone back and watched like a couple of streams from previous seasons. One of them, there was a playoff game on that map. I think it was against you. I think it was us. We were playing. Anyhow, it was a really exciting game.
Yeah.
So
let's up until I lost.
Yeah, but take solace in the fact that that's happened to me a bunch of times too, and you've beaten me. So
I do. I'm very one with the Schadenfreude
mm,
way of life. Yeah, if you lose, I'm good. So I got I got a 10%
I think a
chance.
lot of people feel that way. But look who's winning now. Anyway,
Winning.
let's talk about matchups for Week 5. We've got Zakin versus Ty, Devastation versus Alpha, Ralphus versus Infer, Sal versus Human Bones, and Alt Stab versus Ross King. Good luck. So that's the regular season.
Made this. Okay.
I think we gotta blame Legion. I think Legion made the schedule. So anyway,
God damn.
yeah. So 10 teams, right? In the past, we've done 8 teams. We've let 6 teams into the playoffs. This time around, so we got 10 teams. We are letting 8 teams into the playoffs. So the quarterfinals are going to feature 4 games. We're going to have the 8 seed at the 1 seed, 7 at the 2, 6 at the 3, and 5 at the 4. And there was kind of some discussion recently amongst the captains, just talking about what they thought the best method was, or the best, structure that we could provide, to allow as many teams as possible into the playoffs. So, I think we went up to 10 teams because we had so many signups and we want to include so many people. And I think that kind of, relays itself over into the playoffs. I don't know what you think, but I think the more teams in the playoffs, the more exciting it's going to be. More games.
I'm gonna lean on the wisdom of one of our oldest players. Well, not age wise, but the one that we talked about earlier in this stream that has been here since the very beginning, Ty. And what Ty, huh? Yes. What Ty said is that out of a 5-week schedule, right? It's not a long schedule for the regular season. You don't, with 10 teams, you're gonna play at most 5, right? Other teams, and so you're not gonna play the whole league, So then the strength of schedule that you go up against, completely randomized, by Ralph. At some teams are that just obviously some teams are going to have a harder schedule than others, right? So if you only have a 5-game regular season, man, if you get a bad schedule, you could really get hurt and end up on the outside looking in a 6-team only playoff thing. So again, it's like we're trying to be more inclusive, So and reduce randomness, right? At least in the playoffs, you get best of 5, right? We really know who's the better team at the end of the day. And so, really the regular season is going to be about, not getting eliminated, 1, because 2 teams will get eliminated. And then 2, seeding yourself high so that you don't have to play week 1 against that juggernaut team, and maybe they get upset on the way. And so I'm all for that. Include more people in the playoffs, get more people playoff experience, make the playoffs more fun and longer and awesome because they're the playoffs and they're awesome. And yeah, I agree 100% with Ty on that. So that's kind of what some of the thinking was. I feel like he put it well. You'd have to do. Yeah, I'm just reading another thing that he said. Like he was saying, if we do if we just do 6 playoff teams, you'd at least want a longer season, but we just don't have that time. So
we don't, and I think the fact that we're able to include all these teams, it's got to be a good thing. And so we're going to enter into the Demon Sphere Championship Classic 10, the week of August 10th through August 16th. So it's going to be a really exciting playoffs. We got some good captains, we got some good players, and it's looking like the draft is going to begin relatively shortly. Is there anything else you wanted to say about what we have to look forward to before we kick it to a break and come back with Summer 2020 Draft Live?
Well, I don't know. I am sort of just happy to catch up with all the old Doomers and stuff. It's been a couple of years since I've been here, so for me, this is a lot of fun. And I just like the little community that we have, as dysfunctional as it is, how much drama and crap that there is. You know, at the end of the day, it's been how many years that we've put up with each other for this game, and I like the community just as much as the game these days, to be honest. I enjoy, just hanging out with everybody. And, in a shitty time like we're in, it's been nice, all locked down and stuff, to have, something like this. And, so I'm very happy we're back, and hope you guys are too. And I hope it's a great season. I think it will be.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm glad to actually sit here and talk with you. I know every week we used to be like, we try to schedule it and we're like, we don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. But now it's like, I can't wait to do it. So yeah, I'm glad to be back. I feel the same way as you.
I was excited to do this. So yeah, me too. Yeah.
All right. Well, we should be kicking things off here fairly shortly. Going to go to a break, and then we'll be back. We'll be joined by Ralphus, and yeah. So let's go to a break, and see you in a bit. All right, we are back. And it looks like we're starting to organize all the captains. So let's switch. Let's get Stab in here. Let's get Ralph in here. How's it going, guys?
Hey, everybody. Yeah, definitely wanted to jump back in here, get ready to, do this draft live here. We're waiting on a captain who got a little held up getting out of work. And also the music was not really cooperating and it sounded like a CD skipping. So instead of listening to that over and over, we'll just kind of serenade you with our voices.
Listen to us.
I'll give a little intro here just to kind of prime it. I'm pretty sure most people watching this know what's about to happen, but this is going to be the 10th season of the World Doom League. It's going to be our 10th draft, 25th overall season of IDL and WDL combined. So for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm WDL commissioner and the host for the draft tonight, Ralphus, also a captain.
Hi.
Before we get started, thank you. Hello. I'd like to take a little time to just tell you about what we're doing. Way back 14 years ago, late 2006, I got together with a couple of my peers and we started a small league called the IDL at the time. And I ended up being the commissioner of the IDL for about 5 years. And we saw tremendous growth. That was way back on Z-Damon. And we had over 400 recorded games. So we had hundreds of players that came and went. And since then, we spun off and we started the WDL in 2014. And I actually took a look today and we've had probably just about 200 games played in the WDL as well. So all on Odomex, and it's been pretty cool. We had a little hiatus here for the last 2 years, but we're back with season 10. Before we kind of continue, I just want to say that when it comes to running an event like this, there's a lot of people got to come together to make it happen. It's not just all me. I know that during your pre-draft you said that people kind of equate me with the WDL, but truthfully, it takes a lot of people to do something like this. We have Bones here and Stab. They kind of keep the entertainment going. WDL Radio. Maybe you would call it entertainment. It's something recorded.
Are you not entertained?
Throughout the years, we had Tony and Water kind of worked on the original site and the stats in the back end. We've had Kay Blair manage our servers over the years. Jay Warriors managed the advanced stats that we used to put out. The Odomex team as well. They kind of put up with competitive players' angst and childish demands all the time. So big shout out to Dr. Sean and the rest of the crew over there. And probably the most important for this season, I got to give a big shout out, thank you to Alex Max, who since Odomex went to the newer versions, we lost the source code to how we used to put the stats out. So he's been helping us kind of put that back together so that we could have this season and run it with stats, because it just doesn't seem right to not run it with them. So we should have those ready to go pretty soon. He's been working really hard on them, and he's a great guy. So big shout out to Alex Max for that. So with that out of the way, I'm going to talk about the draft a little bit tonight here. We're going to have 10 captains for the first time in WDL history. So it should be an interesting draft, very wide pool of players. Over 40 players are going to be in the draft pool. And the 10 captains are going to spend a $30 budget across 30 of those players in free agency. And it's not like the straight drafts that we used to do in the IDL. I know we have some older players came back, where they would just pick their player directly in a straight order. This time, a captain will nominate a player, and then the players will bid, and they will eventually be awarded to a team. And then their budget will start to count down, and we'll actually throw that up on the screen here in a moment.
Every player gets bid on. That way, everybody has a chance to get the players that they want. So, in effect, it's a lot more of a fair draft. Everybody gets to, do what they want to do, So then the draft is on you, not luck. That's why we like it.
Right. Exactly. So we just got the draft board up here to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. I'm going to make sure that we can see all the players. It's our first time using this StreamYard, so kind of bear with us a little bit, but we'll get it. So you should be able to see everything up there. So as you can see, we have all the players on the bottom there that are going to be drafted, all the captains in their order at the top. And at this point, we are basically just waiting for the 10th captain to arrive home and let us know that we're ready to go. So we shouldn't be very long here. And do you guys have any thoughts on anything else that you didn't cover earlier?
Well, I think I'm really, really curious how the captains are going to handle a draft like this. Like I mentioned at the beginning, having 10 of us, which is something different, and then having such a diverse group of free agents, it'll be really interesting to see, whether someone is going to bid a lot on one player or split it down the middle. We've seen success both ways, but I think probably we've seen more in the past that someone that has spent a lot of money on on a player, they're kind of handicapped a little bit because they're not getting that third that's of equal value. But is that going to happen this draft because it's so deep? I don't know. So I don't know. I'm very. That is of great interest to me. I couldn't tell you what's going to happen, but yeah.
Okay, so it looks like we have everybody in. Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you think tonight while I do something real quick?
Oh, sure. Well, let's go down the free agent list here. I'm just going to pick out some players like ACC. Now, I don't know what y'all know about ACC, but I know basically nothing except for that he has showed up for prives and kicked ass. That's a lie. I've heard from people that he has kicked ass in previous other leagues, like for Xandro and stuff. So I don't know. That makes him a pretty interesting free agent, to be honest. And I don't know if there's going to be a rookie bias, like a rookie discount on him or not. Some of these players have played in that same league with him. So, maybe I haven't, maybe us, maybe we don't know him, but maybe, yeah. So I don't know if those guys are going to get into a bidding war amongst themselves, against him. Maybe they've been trying to gaslight us. Maybe he sucks. We'll see. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure he doesn't suck because he's been awesome. But yeah, so that's intriguing. That's a spot of intrigue. Let's keep going. AVC now, kind of a powder keg. Could potentially. You never know with AVC what you're going to get, but he could help you win your league. I mean, he won the whole thing with who was that? Zanero,
Jake.
and Jake, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Ghost Killer.
Oh yeah, and Ghost Killer. Interesting. Cartel is an interesting player because he played one season with Roskin, and I think that team went deep into the playoffs, and they were really good. It was like Roskin, Cartel, and Dastin or something, or Infer. They were good though, and he was good, and he was putting up impressive frag numbers. Hasn't been around practice, so I don't know, but a potential sleeper there. Chain is an interesting player. Tell me about Chain in the IDL days.
Well, Chain Dude, as he's probably most well known as the creator of Smart CTF. He was a really strong captain. I think he captained every time. He may have played. He may have played as a non-captain, but he is an elite player. He was an elite player. He is an elite player. If he can actually, which he has been, continue to put in the time and effort to recapturing, the way that he was, he's going to surprise a lot of people. I think he was always one of those guys that it was kind of a force to be reckoned with. He was always like in a playoff game, either before the finals or into the finals. He was always kind of one of the gatekeepers of anybody new trying to break through. So,
did he win any championships?
I think Chain Dude did win. Did he not, Ralph? Like season?
I think he won the first season.
Season 1, yeah.
Oh, actually, no, he lost. That was
Shackle,
and Chaotix and someone else.
He may not have won.
I think,
but he came close.
What a loser!
Well, Dew said that he's also the best dancer.
Best what?
Yes, the best
dancer.
Best dancer.
Oh.
Yes, he is the best dancer, actually.
Cool.
So let's send a shout out to Ty. We're waiting for you. So come announce yourself in the draft channel so we can start it.
Classic Ty.
Okay, there he is. That was pretty easy.
All
right. So we're going to get started.
I'm going to throw this draft screen up here.
Was he at an anime convention?
Anyway.
Yeah, let's move on.
So I actually am first. So I am going to nominate with the first pick. I'm going to nominate Ghost Killer for $1. So Ghost Killer, Ross King puts $2 on him. Ross King with $2 on Ghost Killer. Alpha 3. Alpha has $3 on him. Ross King has $4. $4 on Ghost Killer going once. And Stab jumps in with $5. So $5 to Stab. $6 back to Ross for Ghost Killer. Ghost Killer for $6 to Ross King going once. Ghost Killer for $6 to Ross King going twice. And Stab jumps back in with $7 for Ghost Killer. So Stab for Ghost Killer going once, $7. And that's going to be going twice. Old.
What the fuck just happened?
You just picked up Ghost Killer for $7.
Sneaky pickup there.
Oh, what did I do?
Ghost Killer
I'm
is
just
a really
kidding.
strong
I
player.
love it. I love it. Happy birthday,
Really
Juan.
strong player.
Happy birthday, Juan.
Happy birthday.
All right, so second nomination. Ross King is up. First player off the board, Ghost Killer for $7 to alt stab. Ross King puts, wow, this moves quickly. So Ross King nominated Caution for $5. Infer put $6 down. Zakin jumped in for 20, and Ty came back with 21, and now $23 from Zakin for Caution. So that is $23. Caution
That'd
going.
be a lot of money.
That's a big jump very quickly. We're going to say going once, $23. Caution, X-ray, going to Zakin, going twice. And it looks like he is going to be sold. So very quickly, we escalated that. So Zakin picks up Caution for 23, which puts Zakin down to $7 already. So he's probably going to be kind of on the back burner here for a little while, you would think, with his bidding. And that's going to bring us to Stow, his first time captaining. He is going to be next up to nominate. And he nominates ACC for $2. Infer bids 10. I bid 11. Ty bids 12.
Whoa!
Ross King bids $24. $24 to Ross King, ACC. I believe that they are partners in the MDF League. Is that correct, Bones? Well,
Sure is. Not true, actually.
okay. So 24 to Ross King going
Never
once.
mind.
And that is going twice. And ACC, WDL, IDL rookie is sold for the highest amount so far tonight to Ross King. For $24. Big play. Big
Hey, I'm
play.
gonna ask a question over the stream for people that may not know. If a captain wants to nominate somebody, can they go all out and nominate for $28 on their first nomination?
They can nominate for $28. $28, you can basically nominate and buy the player that you would like to get. So that brings
Excellent.
us to you. And I assume that we're about to see something like that happen. So please nominate your player. Okay. Sold. Bones nominates Dragon for $28. And nobody can outbid you. So sold. Consider it done. So you will be spending a lot of time waiting now.
God damn.
Okay. So we are on to Ty, and this escalated quickly from Ghost Killer for 7, and we're already up to the upper end of the spectrum here with $28 coming out. So we're seeing the big boys get drafted up front here. So this is going to be Ty's first nomination. And there are still a lot of people on the board. And while we're waiting for Ty to make his nomination, one thing I want to say is, if you're a player that's listening right now, if for some reason you don't end up drafted here tonight, don't be too discouraged. It's happened to a lot of people. And often if you just stick around for a few weeks, couple weeks, and you practice with the teams, you will almost always end up on a squad by the end of the season. So some of these players drafted tonight probably will never show up. So just stay with it, stick around the Discord and help the teams, and you're good to go. So we are right now waiting on Ty to make his nomination still, and the other captains are politely, gently busting on Ty with all the Ty memes. Where's the mid? Ty left D. We haven't heard of Wow Really yet, but we'll get there. So I think Ty is thinking about what he wants to do right now. I saw him type something, so I know that he's there. He's probably looking at the board. He nominates Dastin for $1. So, and quickly the bidding is coming up. Infer and Dev jump in at 10. Ty, Dev jump back at 11. Infer, we're up to 13 for Ty, 14 for Dev, 15 for Ty, 16 for Dev. And so right now, Dev is at 16. So Infer jumps in at 17. So $17 right now on Dastin. And it looks like we're going to give that a going once to Infer for 17. And we are going to give that a going twice. And Ty jumps back in. He says, I want him, $18. So Ty in for $18. So going once to Ty for 18. Going twice. And sold. So Dastin to Ty for $18. You know, that's if I could just stop real quick and just comment on that. Maybe 4 seasons ago, Dastin was a free agent. I picked him up in the playoffs. He wasn't playing on any teams. He played awesome for us. Since then, he moved on to teams as fourths and thirds. I mean, look at that. Just a few years later, he's now going in the first round for $18. So, you know, congrats to Dastin here.
Good for Dastin.
So Zachin is going to be up next with his first nomination. And we're waiting on Zachin's nomination. Looks like he started to type. And he has nominated Azriel for $1. Dev jumps in with $2. So Azriel, a IDL, WDL, I'm not actually sure if he's a rookie, but I can't recall him actually playing any games. I think he may have signed up for 1 season. So right now he is going for 2 to Dev. Infer jumps in at 3. Dev comes back. It looks like he wants a piece of Azriel with 4. So right now it looks like it's holding steady. So we're going to say going once to Dev for 4. And that's going to be going twice. And sold to Devastation. So Dev gets his first player with Azriel for $4. You guys might be a little more familiar with Azriel. Is that a steal?
I think so. I think it's a really good pick for Dev because, you know, Dev is a dedicated practicer. He's looking to practice every day, and Azriel is the same way. So I think they're going to be a really good combination. Azriel's super strong fragger, so that'll be a good combo, I think.
All right, so let's move on to the next. Infer is going to be up, rookie captain, first time in. Let's see what he's got up his sleeve. Infer from Brazil, like the last captain that nominated, Zachin. Jay Warrior nominated for 1. Devastation jumps in and nominates for $25. $25 on Jay Warrior. Big jump. Going once to Dev for 25.
I know 25 is a lot, but I'd be surprised if nobody tries to get in on this one.
Going twice. And that is sold. So, Jay Warrior, you know, accomplished player, goes to Dev's team. I don't think they've played together before. That leaves Dev with $1 to pick somebody up at the tail end of this draft here. Second. Okay. Oh man, Windows. Have to keep scrolling down. All right, so that brings us to Alpha. Alpha's first pick here. But Dev already has his possibly starting squad here with Dev, J Warrior, and Azriel. So Alpha nominates Hatred, Jamie, Hate Daddy for $1, and Infer jumps in with 2. Alpha jumps back with 5. Infer in a bidding war with him for 6. So right now, Hate to Infer for $6. Now Alpha jumps back with 10. So $10 for Hate Daddy to Alpha. And that's going to be going once to Alpha for 10. And then Stal jumps in for one of his first bids in a while. Stal with 11. So Stal going once to Stal for, Alpha jumps back in, 13. So we have a little 3-way bidding war here. Alpha sitting at 13. Let's say going once to Alpha for 13. Stal jumps back in with 14. So Stal seems to really want Hate Daddy as well as Alpha. Alpha jumps back here, 15. Stal comes back at him, 16. We're chipping up very slowly. So Stal sitting at 16. Alpha comes back with 17. Stal pushes back with 18. So Alpha and Stal are at each other right now. Stal sitting at 18, going once to Stal for 18. Oh, and there's Alpha. He jumps back in with 19, and Stal comes back with 20. So right now, Stal, kind of going all in. Looks like both of these guys might really want Hate. Spent the majority of their budget going once to Stal. Okay, Alpha jumps back in with 22. 22 right now, Hate Daddy with Alpha. Sitting at 22. Stal comes back with 23. So we're going to say going once to Stal for 23. And this has escalated interesting. Infer got out of this back at $6. So it's a 2-man race at this point. Alpha looks like he's typing. And going twice to Stal for 23. Alpha just comes in and spends $28. He emptied the entire pocketbook for Hate. It's our second player to go for big bucks. Hate Daddy goes for $28 to Alpha. Alpha got his guy. So there you go. So Alpha and
Haven't
Hate
seen
Daddy,
one of those kind of bidding wars in a while.
Yeah, it's just slow. Nobody.
Yeah.
All right.
I kind of felt like it would go up to 28, but it's like, let's just drag it out for 3 minutes.
I really thought that Stal was going to maybe be the one to do that. So very surprising.
Yeah.
So Alpha gets his guy, Hate Daddy, $28. He'll probably be hanging out for a little while. Next up is going to be Devastation's first nomination. And he only has $1 to spend, so he puts $1 on Godlike. Godlike, a veteran player. So $1 on Godlike. That's going to be going once to Dev for $1. Nobody has chimed in yet. Going twice. And sold. So first round's not even done, and Dev has already assembled his entire team.
Yeah. Dev said, "Oh, you guys want to have an hour-and-a-half long pre-draft show? I'm out of here."
Yeah, so Dev is done. Dev squad, Devastation, Azriel, J Warrior, and Godlike. He rounds it out, spent all $30, and that team is set. So we will see them next week in action. Stab, you're up with 2 in a row, 2 nominations in a row.
Righty.
Here we go.
I'm gonna nominate. Let's nominate Cenero.
Okay. Cenero for
$1.
$1. Let me type it in the channel here. Okay. So Cenero, $1. $2 for Infer. 3. Zakin jumps in with 3. I will throw up 5. Everybody kind of jumping in on this. Infer 7. So 7 to Infer for Zenero. 1 is not going to work. Phones, you can't bid 1.
Damn.
Okay, so going once to Infer for 7. Zenero jumped in last night at the twilight hour. Going twice. Oh, and then there's Eric with $8. I'll throw down $9. $9 on Zen. And that is going to be going once to Ralphus for 9. Going twice. Oh, and there is Eric with $10, or Stab, we'll say. Alt Stab, $10 on Zenero. Going once to Stab. Going twice. And that is sold.
Wow. All right. Let's go.
Anything you want to say about that? I think Zenero and Ghost Killer were on a championship team together a few years back, weren't they?
They were. I think it's crazy that we allowed Stab to get Ghost Killer and Zenero, and he still has $13 left. But hey,
That's true.
good for you, Stab.
Good draft.
Start.
All right. So with that, we're going to be going into the second round officially, I suppose. And you're going to be kicking that off again, Stab. So at your ready.
Yes. I am not ready. Oh, shit.
Okay, that's okay. You can.
All right, I'm gonna throw out Denzoa for 12. Wait, I can spend all of my money. 13.
Yeah, you can spend all your money. All right, type it in the channel.
Whoops.
So $13 on Denzoa, who has played on your team in the past.
Yes.
So 13 for Denzoa. Coming out big to start. And 13 for Denzoa. I don't see anyone typing necessarily. So we will say going once to Stab for 13. Going twice. And Stab, it looks like your draft is also over.
All right.
What are people thinking? What are people thinking?
That's a super team. You want
Great
to
draft.
say anything about your team?
I don't know. It's got a lot of frag power. Holy shit. We'll see though. You never really know with these things. Honestly, like we see super teams not do well. So it'll be up to me. I guess the pressure's on to put a good team out there. So
Well, good luck. So you're pretty much done at this point. But you hang out and talk. So we're coming back around. Dev is out, and so are Stab. So it's going to be Alpha, and Alpha throws up K Blair for 1. Zakin jumps in with 6. Infer jumps in with 7. So the 2 Brazilian captains are making a play for Blair. I'll jump in at 8. We'll see where this takes us. So nobody has said anything else since. So going once to Ralphus for 8. I don't like being on camera. But I'm making a bad poker face. Going twice.
You're not, actually. You're not.
Oh, I'm not? Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, and it looks like K Blair is sold to me. I bought him. He's now mine for $8.
What are people thinking?
I can't believe that just happened, but thank you.
What the fuck? Good pickup.
Thank you.
Who'd you get?
K Blair.
Whoa, shit. I don't know if
So-
anybody saw it last night, but motherfucker was playing Shutdown D. God damn.
All right, so we are on to the next one here. And the next will be Infer. So, Infer, you're up.
I mean, I should say you're not on camera, but I can see you.
That's a Okay, so we are waiting on Infer's pick here. Surprisingly, two teams already complete. We before we
Two
even
teams are
made it
complete,
down once.
and two teams haven't even chosen a player yet. Very interesting.
Yeah, and two teams have all maxed out pretty much. Human Bones and Alpha both have spent $28, so they're
You don't say.
they're waiting until the end at this point. We are waiting on Infer's nomination. And he has nominated Shift for $5, and Zakin jumps in with 6. Infer jumps in with 7.
Zakin's out now.
That's right, Zakin cannot bid anymore, so Infer at $7 for Shift. So going once to Infer for 7. Going twice. And Ty jumps in with 8. Well, 88, but then he said 8. So Ty in with 8. And so now it's kind of another two-man race. Going wants to tie for 8. Infer jumps back with 9, so Shift right now sitting at 9 to Infer. That's going to be going once to Infer for 9. Going twice. And Infer is, oh my god, Ty jumped in with 10 before I could say sold. Infer, or I don't know if he's going to come back or not, but Ty sitting at 10 for Shift right now. Going once to Ty for 10. Going twice. Oh, 11 for Infer now. Slowest bid up ever. Going once to Infer for 11. Going twice. And he is sold. So Shift to Infer for $11. His first pickup. I don't know a lot about Shift myself. I know that he has like a Xandrenum history. Is there anything you guys can say about him?
Good fucking player.
Yeah. He very aware of what's happening in the game, so he can pretty much play any position. So yeah, that was a good pickup for Infer, and it's gonna be, so far that's a scary team.
Looking good. I'm gonna sorry, Stal is on his phone actually, so I'm sending him screenshots of the updated standings here. Board. All right. So that brings us to Zakin will be next.
Zakin still has $7. Drafted caution for 23.
Just waiting on Zakin. Looks like he's starting to type his nomination. He nominates Cartel for $1. Infer jumps in with 2, Ross King with 3, Infer with 4, Zakin with 6, Infer with 7. And right now it's just sitting 7 with Infer.
Yep. Haven't seen Ross King bid in a while, so see if he jumps in here. He can't jump in. But hey.
Right, he's out.
Yeah.
Twice. And it's Ty. Gosh. Ty jumps in at 8. Right as I'm typing sold. Infer jumps back in with 9. So Cartel sitting at 9 right now to Infer. We're going to say going once to Infer for 9. Going twice. And sold. So Infer picks up Cartel for 9. So this is an interesting team because Infer he's a known WDL quantity, but Shift and Cartel are not. So you have to assume that it's just kind of based on what he knows about them from outside of the league walls, and that he's going to be able to kind of put something together.
Yeah, sneaky good right here. Sneaky good, if that's a saying that should be used. He's still got $10 left, so he can get another strong player and kind of have that all-around team that everyone strives for.
So I just want to double check with Stal here just to make sure that everything is okay with him. Why don't you guys talk for a minute? Thanks.
Well, I just had some thoughts on my team. It's already finished. And I was just thinking, I put together a real powder keg of a team without even really thinking about it. So that'll be interesting. Just looking at it.
If I were you, I wouldn't wear headphones this season.
Yeah.
No, but really, Denzoa for $13 to your team, a team that already has Ghost Killer and Zanero. How? I don't understand.
I did not.
That is crazy.
When I nominated him, when I nominated Zanero, it was like maybe I'll get him, but I kind of expected him to go for a lot more, and then I got him, and then I was definitely not expecting to get Denzoa, and I just thought, well, we'll just run somebody out of some money here so that I don't know, and then I got him, so yeah, I'm really happy with that. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think I got Dragon right now.
So what's the thinking behind that?
Well, the thinking behind that is I've played a lot of games with Dragon, and I felt it was worth the $28 risk to take somebody that I'm really comfortable with and somebody that I think I can win it all with again. So
yeah,
we'll have to see how the draft plays out, but so far I'm pretty happy.
I think with 10 teams, that's a viable strat, a much more viable strat.
It was worth the risk, yeah.
All right,
Anyway,
so we're going to jump back into it here. Ty is up with the 16th nomination, I believe. We're getting about halfway through. And he nominates Ed for $1. Ross King jumps in with $5 on Ed. And Zakin jumps in with $6 on Ed. So Ed's been pretty quiet here in the preseason. Haven't really seen him in any Pride games, but he has a history and a reputation. So right now, Zakin has $6 on him. And we're going to say going once to Zakin for 6. And Ty jumps in with 7. So right now, looks like Ty is going to be going once. Going twice. And sold. Ed to Ty for $7. So that Ty's got $5 remaining for his final pick. Right now it's Ty, Dastin, and Ed. And that's going to bring us down to you, Bones.
All right.
Legion for $1. Ty bids 2, Infer bids 3, Ross King bids 5, Zakin bids 6. So right now, Zakin at 6. We're going to say Legion to Zakin for $6. Going once. Going twice. And sold. So Legion to Zakin for $6.
Legion's always a good pickup. Super reliable. Plays any position you ask him to. He's improved quite a bit over the years. Love playing with the guy, so that's going to be a really strong team. And we're still, I know Stal is up to nominate. We're still waiting for him to pick a player. Who's it going to be?
Yeah. He can, if he
Who are you
really wants
picking?
one right now, he can simply bid.
Yeah, he can bid 23 if he wanted to.
$22.
Actually,
Yeah.
22, yeah. Actually, 21.
Okay, so Stal looks like he's typing his nomination. He bids Chain Dude for $5. So I will
If
bid
he gets
6. And Infer jumps in at 7. Chain Dude was in the first season of IDL back in 2006 and or 2007, and he's coming back. Stal bids 8. So 8 to Stal. I will bid 9. And Stal comes back and bids 10. So Chain Dude to Stal for 10. Going once. Chain Dude to Stal for 10. Going twice. And since I'm the only one that can bid and I'm not going to bid, he is sold. So Chain Dude actually has been kicking some ass recently.
For sure. He's trying to whip himself back into shape, and it's going pretty well. That's a good pickup for Stel.
And that's now a team of 2 WDL rookies, yet former IDL veterans. Or wait, did Chain play last season?
Nope.
Yeah, there we go.
Nope, you should have dropped out as soon as you said what you said. It was eloquent. You ruined it.
I mean, you don't have to keep harping on it.
Anyhow, Ross King up with his nomination. Ross King's got the most. Nope, never mind. I really need to read better. Ross King's got $6. So that's true.
So Ross King comes in and nominates That's Just Prime for $1. And I'll bid 3. I'll bid 6. So Infer bids 5, I bid 6, Infer bids 7. I'll bid 8. Sal bids 9, Infer bids 10. I will bid 12. Stal bids 11. I bid 12. I will bid 20. I am going to take That's Just Prime for $20 and feeling pretty good about that, actually.
That's okay. Can I comment?
Yeah.
I mean, Prime has been playing great, and he's been running really good too. But man, with that cheap ass K-Blair pick, that's a hell of a team. Nice job.
It is.
Thank you. Feeling pretty good. I don't know how I got Blair for $8.
Can't believe it.
And just to put you in my brain here, I was watching Stal's money at $30, so I knew if I could get him to bid 10 on Shane, that I could get Prime. So
you played him.
What you
it's the
gotta
first
do.
time doing an auction draft. But okay, so I'm actually up to bid here. And I will nominate. I will nominate Fran for $1. So bid $1 on Fran here.
Got live commentary from Fran. Legion is not reliable. The new Path of Exile patch is coming out next Friday.
Ooh, that means Fran's probably not going to be available either, though.
Damn, that sucks. Going twice to me, and sold. So my team is now complete as well. This is the second time that Fran is on my team, and last time he played great for us. He didn't really. He's great. He's great. So
Tell us the history of Fran. Was he in?
well, he was in WDL for one season. I drafted him. It was the season I had Blair and Tony, and actually, Fran was the best cheerleader we ever had. So,
but I mean, how did Fran play much back in the day?
he has never actually played in a league game. I don't think he's ever made it on the field, so to speak. But feeling good about it this season. I think I'll roll him out.
Kind of a Rudy character.
Sure.
Fran says I'm a great player. A lot of you guys missed out.
Okay, so ABC to Ross King, $5 he nominates. And we're going to have to see what happens here because there's only two other players that can outbid him, which is Stal and Infer. Stal bid 6, so it's now a two-man race between Stal and Infer for ABC, who, man, in that championship season they had, he was just crushing it, Ryan. That's going once for 6 to Stal. Going twice.
Isn't that an interesting? Thank you.
Okay, so ABC hits Stal's rosters. So they have Stal, Chain Dude, and ABC right now. Actually, a pretty formidable little squad. Oof. And Stal has $14 left to get whatever guy he wants on the board still. So
that's a steal. I mean, holy shit.
That is a steal.
Dude's a champion. Maybe the best runner in the league.
That was
Hey, Blair is a champion. Blair went for $8.
What has Blair ever won?
Blair won with Water and J Warrior.
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. My bad. I don't really count that year.
Blair won this draft, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. GPS might have something to say about that.
GPS is back.
Giant pea shooters in the house.
GPS.
Are the Sex Panthers back?
Sexual Panthers are back, baby.
Nice.
Hey, that's gimmick infringement.
Is Suck back? That was
Suck
a question
is back.
on the show. Sorry.
Suck is back, baby. As a matter of fact, looking at this roster, Suck's never been more back than it is right now.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so Stal goes all in on Shane, so $14 for Shane. And Stal is going to round out his draft here.
That's a nice team. My God.
Yep.
Shane is a hell of a player. I was going to pick Shane later. Honestly, I just nominated 2 players I didn't think I was going to get. I got it. But Shane was on my list.
Well, Stal waited until the very last moment to draft his first player, and now his whole team is completed.
Yep.
Pretty good team. Shane, AVC, and Shane.
Good team.
Shane.
That's a great team.
Sorry, Excel is not looking the way it does on the stream right now, so
It's all good.
it's all messed up on my screen. Okay, so that brings us to you, Mr. Human Bones.
This is true.
$1 on Toby, who was a very late sign up. So there's not many teams left, so we're just going to kind of roll through this. So Toby for $1 going once, going twice. Oh, he's yours. Anything you'd like to say
Very
about
nice.
Toby?
You know, Toby, not a lot of people know how good Toby is because he has, it was like intermittent playing periods, but he's a strong third. He communicates well with his team, and he and Dragon are very close friends, so that's going to be some good synergy there between those guys.
All right, sounds good. So you're trying to rock the European squad. Because right now,
Gonna fuck it up!
except for Denzoa, who's on Stab's squad, I think you have the only Europeans, right? I guess you could kind of count Das, and he's in Morocco, technically Africa, but it's close to Spain. All right, so we're just waiting on Ty right now. We have a lot of players left on the board here. We got Adiskel, Chamilla, Dark Ion, Doom Joshua Boy, Dranzer, which, okay. Disparel. I mean, Disparel is still on the board too. There's a lot of talent still up here. Galactus, Dosu.
Yep.
I mean, all of the Mexican guys, Dosu, Pero, and Solar, all starters in this league. Skull Rush. Just kind of looking through here. Salt Mine. He's in the discussion for all the work he's been putting in. Shadow Stalker. So a lot of people have been kind of pounding it out in Pride recently, and I think this is like sort of a situation where, I mean, you look at the free agency. If one of these guys doesn't get picked, then
Blasphemy.
They're obviously gonna make it onto a team within the first week. So interesting to see what happens.
Dosu's going to end up on a team 100%.
Well, maybe. It depends if Ty ever nominates his next player. So we're just waiting on Ty here. We'll give him a little highlight. Ty, if you're listening, this is your time to shine. Come out and make a nomination for the love of God, please. What do we? Has anyone talked about? Oh, here we go. He's slutting with his team. He nominates Galactus for $5. So Ty nominates Galactus for $5, and Infer is out. So unless Ross
Nope.
wants to jump in, then
He can't.
Oh, yeah. Right. He can't. So Ty finishes his team with Galactus for $5.
Ty, Dastin, Ed, and Galactus.
Oh my. That's quite a team.
You almost find yourself without words.
To be a fly on
Good
that.
draft, Ty.
All right.
Good draft for Ty.
Well, they have a
Well-
lot of frag power. Week 1, map
Yeah.
4 should be interesting.
Dastin and Ed, Ed's. That's the thing about Ed. That was when we talked about pre-show. He's a wild card. I mean, obvious talent, could be a number 1, but just hasn't been around. Who knows?
All right, so we're going to move on here. Zachin is up. He has $1 to spend. So there's only a few people that can kind of jump in and steal a player that he nominates. Ross King and Infer. That's it. So let's take a look and see what he has in mind. And Zachin bids 1 on Disparrow, and Infer immediately comes back and spends all of his money and spends $10. So Disparrow is off the board finally for $10 to Infer. Infer is done. And it's another team complete. Infer, Shift, Cartel, and Disparrow. Do you guys have any insight on that squad you want to share?
Well, Infer is teamed up with Disparrow in the Vengeance League, so I kind of figured that he was saving his $10 for that. I think a lot of people somehow are discrediting Disparrow because he's now in Syria, and he's had some internet, let's say, concerns. But I mean, he's still Disparrow. He's still Disparrow. So that is a monster team right there. Infer and Disparrow. Throw in Shift and Cartel. Good draft.
So there's Alpha with a $1 bid for Dosu. And the only person that can bid against him is Ross. So, and Ross is not going to bid. So Alpha gets Dosu for $1. Oh my goodness! What a
wow!
What a
player to match with his $28 pick. I did not think he was going to get a $1 player like Dosu.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Puts that $28 pick in a whole different light, to be honest.
Solid squad right there. And who knows, he gets to go again. So he has $1 left, and we're gonna see if it's someone that Ross King doesn't want, then that's his guy. And Alpha is kind of thinking it over right now. And man, I believe week 1, I don't know if you guys still have the schedule up in front of you, but I believe that week 1 is an Alpha versus Ty matchup on map 4. I mean,
It sure is.
What a heavy hitting game that's going to be. Alpha, Hate Daddy, and Dosu versus Ty, Dastin, Ed, or Galactus. I mean, that's
Can you say 0-0?
And Alpha, oh my goodness, what a frag team. Alpha makes his other nomination Dranzer, who is
Alpha
another
killed it.
crusher. That is an incredible team. Hopefully they're able to get some running going, but I mean, that team can do anything basically. So, all right. So Alpha squad, Alpha, Hate Daddy, Dosu, and Dranzer. Good game, Alpha. And that's going to bring us back to Zachin. There are only 3 captains left that can nominate: Zachin, Human Bones, and Ross King. Ross King pretty much has the pick of whoever he wants at this point. Zachin nominates Skull Rush. Ross King nominates 2. So Ross King takes Skull Rush on his squad for $2, and he can have any player that he wants at the end. That's pretty good.
Very
Skull
true.
Rush is a solid player. A starter caliber player, in my opinion. I was lucky enough to have him on my team a few years ago. And Bones, it's your pick, your nomination. You have $1 remaining. Zakin has $1. Ross King has $4. Human Bones nominates Shadow Stalker for $1. And if Ross won't bid, then that's going to be a sold. Shadow Stalker, our only Nicaraguan player, pretty solid. He's been showing up in Prive.
Sure has.
Going once the Bones for $1. Okay, and Ross said he's out, so sold. And your draft is now complete. Any thoughts on your team?
I'm really happy. When I talked to Dragon about doing the $28 thing, I'll let you catch up with Ross King. He just made a nomination.
Sure. Yeah, Ross King has the most money left. He jumps in. He nominates Dark Ion for. We're just going to take him for $4. So he finishes his draft. And that leaves us with Zakin, the remaining pick.
But yeah, Dragon told me
A
to
lot of players
try to
must
get
be-
Toby, and that's what I did. And Shadow Stalker, I have been playing with him and watching him in Prive. Really happy to have somebody like that on my team.
Okay, and Zakin makes his final pick, Salt Mine for $1. So the draft is complete. The teams are up here on the board right now, and we can review them. I think that it's very likely that we might see some roster transactions as early as tonight. But let's go through the team. So Ralphus has K Blair, That's Just Prime, and Fran Damon, Fran Dronum. Ross King has ACC, Skull Rush, and Dark Ion. Stal has Chain, ABC, and Shane. Human Bones has Dragon, Toby, and Shadow Stalker. Ty has Dastin, Ed, and Galactus. Zakin has Caution, Legion, and Saltmine. Infer has Shift, Cartel, and Disparel. Alpha has Hate Daddy, Dosu, and Dranzer. Devastation has Azrael, J Warrior, and Godlike. And Alt Stab finishes it out with Ghost Killers, Zanero, and Denzoa. Those are some crazy teams. This should be an interesting season for sure.
Yeah, I think I was surprised, that season that we were talking about where Water got Blair and J Warrior, and everyone was like, "Whoa, how did he do that?" I think you could say that about like 4 or 5 teams in this draft. Like, wow, how did the other captains let this happen? But you know what? Seems like everyone's happy with their team, so it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good season.
Yeah. So, like I said, first off, congratulations to the captains and to all the players that they drafted. For all the remaining free agents there, which there's probably about 10 or something like that. Don't get discouraged. Very high chance that you could still make one of these teams. Looking at these rosters, there's a lot of people that might flake out. It happens every season, especially with 10 teams. It's even more likely to happen. So I'm sure that the roster is going to start changing over the weeks here. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Thanks to everyone, and hopefully this is a great season. Do you guys have any?
Good teams,
for
good
it.
captains. It's going to be a great season. We got so many people here, so many people talking right now. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm with
So,
you. Thanks to everyone for tuning in.
as is customary, I suggest everybody go join the Prive server and play some games. Post draft Prive. It's kind of like a tradition. So,
Let's go.
all right, and
do it.
also captains, if you're still listening, which I'll get in touch with all of you, but if you know your team names, just private message me and I'll set you up on Discord so your team kind of has a channel.
Why don't we say when are the first games going to happen?
Good idea. So Well, what do you mean by that? They start Monday. Is the week, so we're going to start collecting availabilities from the captains and scheduling the games for next week. So expect to see games Thursday through Sunday.
Exactly.
Anything
All
else?
right. I don't think so. Let's go play some Prive.
All right.
See y'all in there.
Thanks, everybody. Let's have a great season.